Hi, it's Mary Sue Penn, and thank you so much for voting for me in the Next Top Spiritual Author Contest at www.nexttopauthor.com. And I'm going to give you information today about finding your personal aces in the hole. So this is very important. You know, in solitaire, we build on each of these foundational aces. And solitaire used to be used as a divination tool, so cards are very symbolic. And each of the symbols means something else. So how do we find the personal symbols for ourselves and build on our foundational aces in the hole? Well, today, first of all, let's talk about the Ace of Hearts. Now, in traditional tarot, the heart relates to the cup symbol. And just like we can fill up a cup with liquid, we can fill up our hearts with love and joy and emotion. And the cup is filled with liquid. The medium for hearts is water, and water relates to emotions. So we're going to find our own personal ace of heart in the hole that we can build upon. So we want to find some kind of emotional way of being that really will help us proceed in life. Now you can use these aces as a starting point, whether you're starting from scratch on something or you're starting a new phase of a project or a relationship. It's good to go back to our aces in the hole. So how do we find our own personal ace of heart in the hole? Well, let's do a few exercises to get there. Okay, take in a few deep breaths, please. And put your hands over your heart. This is your fourth chakra, your energy center. This is where we store the emotions of love, joy, also sadness, grief. But we today are going to be focused on joy and love and the peaceful feelings. So putting your hands over your heart and taking in a few deep breaths, let's go back in time to a time when you were a child and you felt really loved and loving. Think back on one particular incident or event in your childhood where you felt so loved and you felt loving. I'll give you a personal example from my life. I remember as a girl of about 7, my dad took me miniature golfing. Just he and I went to the miniature golfing place, and before that he had taken me to buy me a new pair of sandals. And so I was so excited, and as we were going around golfing, I accidentally stepped into a water hazard, and it was really embarrassing. And I pulled my foot out, and the water somehow dissolved the glue at the front part of my sandal. So it wrecked my brand new shoes, and my sandal was kind of flapping around in the front. So I was kind of embarrassed, but my dad said not to worry, we could always get a new pair of shoes, and let's have fun playing miniature golf. Let's have fun finishing the rest of the game, and then we'll go get a new pair of shoes. And at that moment, which could have been so heartbreaking and disappointing for me, instead it was one of, I just felt my dad's love in that, in his tender response to me. So when I think back at my emotional ace in the hole, it would be that it's okay to make mistakes. And I know I can be forgiven and move on, and things can be repaired. So that's my emotional ace in the hole. For other people, it may have been you felt so loved. Maybe when Santa Claus brought you a favorite gift. So maybe that was an ace in the hole, knowing that if you ask for something, you will receive it. That's an important emotional ace in the hole. Whatever it is, whatever your circumstance was as a kid, just try and remember it, write it down exactly, and write down what specifically was it about that event that made you feel so loved and made you feel peaceful and content and joyful. Now we're going to go a little ways up from that to an adulthood event or incident where we felt totally, completely loved and loving. And for me, that incident would have to be when I first held my son in my arms, felt him connected to me, and I just felt all this love pouring out of my heart into him. So my emotional ace in the hole in that case is I love to nurture people. I love to be nurturing. So find a time in your own adult life when you felt so loving and felt so loved. And maybe this was a time when you were able to help someone in need, or maybe it was a time when you were surrounded by something so beautiful that you just felt totally loved by God. Whatever it is, try and figure out what it was about that particular incident that made you feel so loving, and that is your emotional ace in the hole, something that you can eventually build upon. It's a strength you have of character inside you. So, thanks for spending the time learning about the emotional ace in the hole, and please tell everyone you know to go vote at www.nexttopauthor.com for Mary Sue Penn, Penn, like Pennsylvania, and my book, Lessons I've Learned from Solitaire, so that more people will have access to these videos and can find their own personal aces in the hole. Thank you very much. Goodbye.